I'm driving on a dirt road called El Trampolin de la Muerte, which translates to the trampoline of death. Welcome to Motorbike Explorer. I left off at the last episode having just arrived in Vilches, a small quiet village in the south of Colombia. As soon as I checked into my hotel, the heavy downpours started and didn't stop for the next 3 days. On top of that, my bike won't start, adding much more to my frustration. In order for an engine to have combustion, you need fuel, air, and ignition. If there is a failure with just one of those systems, your engine will not run, so I quickly began troubleshooting. Luckily, I didn't have to spend too much time as I discovered that I had no spark. The spark on this bike originates from the stator assembly. Apparently, the wiring harness had worked loose and was struck by the starter ring gear. Luckily, I had a spare one that I received back in Costa Rica, so it was just a matter of plug and play. Whew, what a relief. This major problem was hardly a delay at all. This damaged stator is salvageable, but I'll have to wait until it's a more convenient time to repair it. The next day, the rain finally started to taper off. I'm usually okay with riding in rain, but when I was working on some trip planning, I discovered that I inadvertently directed myself toward a death road. El Trampolin de la Muerte is a 70-kilometer or 44-mile stretch of dirt road that was carved from the mountainside in 1930 to facilitate the war between Colombia and Peru. I only noticed this stretch of road when I searched for directions to Pasto and noticed all the sharp turns. What am I getting myself into? The following morning, with the roads all dry, I decided to just go for it and tackle the death road. But while I was packing, I noticed soldiers marching down the street right in front of my hotel. No one seemed nervous about it, so naturally neither did I. Turns out it is a parade of some sort. I'm not sure what the celebration is for, but I don't want to stick around too long to watch it. My focus right now is just getting through the day's ride. I just better finish packing and get on with it. I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm a little nervous. My mom, much more than I am. I told her that if things get too difficult or too dangerous, that I can always turn around and find another way. This is exactly what I did back in Honduras when Google Maps led me to a very difficult road that exceeded my off-road riding skills. After spending way too much time looking at pictures online of the death road, I can't believe that roads like this exist, despite all the accidents and fatalities that occur each year. Okay, here it is, I guess. The start of the death road. Oh man, what a way to be greeted. by a roadside memorial. Well, I really hope I don't have to turn around to find another route, because it will be a very long detour. The road conditions aren't all that bad. There are some pretty large tennis ball sized rocks that give you a scare as you ride over them. Oh crap, a water crossing. Ugh, this bike is way too heavy to be doing that again. Whoa, why did I look down? Alright, now I see why it's called a death road. These sections of missing guardrails are certainly giving me white knuckles. Just stay focused, because there's still a lot more to go. Jeez, it's gonna be a tight squeeze. Just barely made it. What did I get myself into? My stress level is through the roof, and I'm only halfway through. I guess there's no point in complaining. I just have to get on with it. If you're crazy enough to tackle El Trampolin de la Muerte, here are a few points to consider. The highest part of the pass is around 9,000 feet or 2,743 meters, and even though the distance isn't that long, it will take about 4 hours to traverse. Most of the delays are due to other vehicles, large trucks that can barely squeeze past oncoming traffic. You kinda have to put blind faith that they aren't sleepy or intoxicated behind the wheel. And go slow around blind corners. The area also gets lots of rain and mudslides. I'm glad I waited for the rain to stop, otherwise these water crossings could have been a lot worse. I had spoken with another rider that rode through a few days before I did, and he had to wait several hours for a mudslide to be cleared. That can make for a really long day. I'm still only halfway through El Trampolin de la Muerte. Once I hit the pavement, there's another 2 hours of riding to do before I reach the city of Pasto. This day is proving to be a long one, indeed. Seems like the longer I stay on this road, the more dangerous it's becoming. You guys watching at home may not realize how physically and mentally draining this is. I think the adrenaline starts to wear off after a couple of hours, and I don't want to make any mistakes now that fatigue is starting to set in. Despite this difficult test of endurance, you have to still admire the beauty this luscious green backdrop provides. It's the only thing keeping me going right now. Falling down, breaking the bike, or myself is the last thing I want to do today. Every now and then I take a pause when there's no traffic to catch a break and calm my nerves a bit. really glad I paced myself, because when it comes to marathon running, it's all about finishing and finishing strong. Wow, look at that view. Looks like the climbing is over, so it's nothing but downhill from here. Alright, where is this pavement? There it is! Ah, thank goodness. Time to pick up the speed now. I can't believe it. I survived el Trampolin de la Muerte. I survived death. Oh man, it felt like I was in a dream. Or should I say nightmare? Alright, next challenge of the day, find my hostel. This one might prove to be more challenging. Okay, next block I think. I eventually found my hostel and checked in. Tomorrow morning the plan is to cross the border with Ecuador and continue my first planned stop in Ibiza, which will be a 4.5-hour ride, not including any time spent at the border. The city of Pasto has a population of about 500,000. I was only here for a night, so it didn't allow much time to explore further than what was near my hostel. But from what I've seen so far, Pasto is a peaceful city surrounded by beautiful countryside and small farming villages.
Alright, Ecuador, here I come. Have a nice trip. Alright, thanks a lot, Haugen. Take care. Alright, see you later. Bye.
As I leave one country behind, having been satisfied observing new cultures and landscapes, I always get excited to see what's beyond the next border. At this point, I think it's an addiction. I typically enter each country not knowing too much about it. I want to let curiosity be my guide. I also enjoy listening to the other travelers I bump into, who are working their way north as I head south. We exchange experiences and give advice on places to go and things to do. So far, this method of planning, or maybe lack thereof, has worked out pretty well for me. Finally made it to the border with Ecuador. They use US dollars here, so that's a relief. I quickly exchanged what little pesos I had from Colombia and got on my way. I love easy border crossings. Bienvenido a Ecuador. Ecuador literally translates to equator, which passes very close to its second largest city called Quito. I'm pretty sure there's a monument there, so I definitely am going to check that out. I'm headed to my first stop in the city of Ibarra. I plan on spending a little extra time there to work on my bike, get a little R&R, and immerse myself in Ecuadorian culture. Okay, the house is around here somewhere. Here it is. Ibarra has a population of about 200,000 living in the metropolitan area. The city is also very high in elevation, 7,300 feet or 2,225 meters. The climate here is very cool too, low 70s or around 22 Celsius for a high during the day. I'm able to prolong my stay here because of a very good friend of mine. Pat is an old coworker who offered to let me stay with his mom and extended family. They graciously offered their driveway so that I can catch up on some routine maintenance. I had to gain access to the engine's valves in order to check the clearances. I ended up replacing all the shims for thinner ones. I feel much better now. Pat's cousin Christian and his family also took me out on guided tours around the city. We visited many beautiful parks, churches, monuments, and I had a chance to sample some local cuisine. Christian later grabbed his friend's motorbike and we rode together all day exploring the area outside of the city. Christian, if you are watching, thank you so much for taking the time to show me around your beautiful home of Ibarra. Just a short drive south, we arrived in Otavalo to take a look at the artisanal markets there. There was so much handcrafted pottery, paintings, clothing, blankets, and jewelry. I wanted to take so much with me, but I have no room for it. If you are visiting Quito, be sure to take a ride up to Ibarra and Otavalo. You will not want to miss it. Paella is a type of ice cream created by the indigenous people of Ecuador during the Inca times. Shaved ice or snow was brought down the nearby Imbabura volcano and was placed inside a large bowl. The juices of various fruits are stirred inside of a large bronze pan that sits on top of the ice, which then freezes the juices, creating a type of ice cream or sorbet. My favorite flavor is chirimoya. Delicious. My stay in Ibarra has come to an end. The next stop is only 70 miles or 113 kilometers south in Quito, Ecuador's capital city. Oh man, what a great stay I had with Pat's family. Pat, if you're watching this, thank you so much, my friend. I feel much better catching up on my bike's maintenance. and it was such a joy to be taken care of by your family. I'll never forget my stay here in Ibarra. Here's an interesting fact about Quito. It's the second highest capital city in the world, with La Paz, Bolivia being in the #1 spot. Quito is at an elevation of 9,350 feet or 2,850 meters above sea level. I've had no problems with the high altitude since I've been acclimating very slowly. Just be aware if you fly into here from a much lower altitude to take it easy before doing any strenuous activity. I can't wait to explore Quito's historic center. It's considered to be the largest, least altered, and best preserved historic centers in the Americas. Okay, my place should be around here somewhere. So, I'm almost at my hostel, and I chose this one because of its uniqueness. I'll show you why just as soon as I check in. This should be interesting. Pods. Yup, this is a pod hostel, just like in Japan. Not for those who are claustrophobic. Pretty neat, huh? After settling in, I decided to visit a nearby mountaintop via cable car. I was able to get a much better perspective on how large Quito really is. Quito has a population of around 2.7 million, and because of its elevation and its proximity to the equator, it has a fairly constant, cool climate all year round. Quito's historic center features many churches and cathedrals that date back to the 16th and 17th centuries, constructed in Baroque, Gothic, and Renaissance styles. Such amazing architecture. After making some new friends back at the pod hostel, we decided to explore the nightlife in the historic center. We headed out for an event called the Festival of the Lights. It was really unforgettable. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Motorbike Explorer, and until next time, safe travels everyone, wherever they may be, and have a wonderful day. Oh, I almost forgot. I have just one more place to visit before I go.
Fuerte los aplausos, por favor.